All right. How is everybody tonight? What is going on? Hey, okay, there we go. It was just for some reason the bar looked weird. Anyway, what is going on, everybody? I am Boxman. This is Hollywood Hangout, and I am going to get into one fun movie to watch tonight. I mean, seriously, it is just one of those movies that when it's over, you're like, that's it? It's done already? Wow, what that geez, that's fucking nuts. But it's a really fun movie, and it's got a great cast, and I don't know why I haven't ever it's one of those that I thought I did, and when I went back through my archives, I hadn't done it. So, I decided, let's have some fun. Let's do this movie. So, the movie I'm gonna talk tonight is The Big Hit, 1998. That's right, we're flashing back. I've gone from the '80s to the 2000s, 2017. Now I'm going back to the '90s. We'll switch somewhere in between next week. Somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't know what we're gonna do yet. But this is really one of those just absolutely fun movies that is just a good action movie. If you're into just stuff blowing up, good action, and John Woo movies, then that's what you're going to get here. Now, this wasn't a John Woo directed movie. This was actually the American film debut for Hong Kong director Kirk Wong, but John Woo was an executive producer on the film. He wasn't the only producer on the film. Another producer on this film, believe it or not, was Wesley Snipes, even back in these days. So, yeah, I honestly didn't know that until I saw his name on screen, and then I came and double checked it. I'm like, yeah, it's that Wesley Snipes. Not that I believe thered be another Wesley Snipes in the movie business, but anyway, that's got nothing to do with nothing. But I'll dig into a few little movie trivia things, and then I'm going to talk about the hit crew, and then we'll meet all the other actors as we get to them in the thing. Now, this movie was written by Ben Ramsey, and he originally envisioned this movie as a darker, kind of neo-noir thriller. But this is what he ended up with, which this is not bad at all. I love this film the way it is, actually. But the producers and Kirk Wong got together and decided to make it more like live action cartoon. And that's kind of what this movie comes off as, is exactly that, a live action cartoon in some parts of it. There's the, there's jobs going wrong. Everything they do seems to not go their way. It's a little Tom and Jerry. I'll give you that. And we'll you guys can see which cartoon you think it might kind of do as I go through. Talking about him in just a little bit. For now, I just want to talk about the character Melvin. Melvin is this very polite, stressed, Maalox addicted because he has an ulcer guy who is afraid of anyone possibly not liking him. So he does all these favors for people. Okay. And that's played by Mark Wahlberg in this movie. Now, they had two other people in mind, and I think it's crazy the 180 they took after these two guys. The first guy they had in mind was Jason Scott Lee. Now, Jason Scott Lee, if you don't remember, was in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. He was Bruce Lee in that movie. And the other actor they asked was Jackie Chan. Now, Jackie Chan turned it down because he didn't like the lifestyle of the hitman or the profanity. So he decided to turn the movie down. So they took two guys who are Asians and decided Melvin Smiley, let's just go with Mark Wahlberg. Let's just go with Mark Wahlberg. Sure. Let's do it. Let's go with Mark Wahlberg. Now, this movie was definitely a disappointment in the box office, but it became a cult classic on VHS early in the 2000s, and it really didn't do good in the theaters. It made right around 27 million. $13 million budget though, so it didn't do very well in the box office, but definitely did good. There's even a video store in this movie, which makes it even better. But this, again, well, not again. I know I've been doing a little different, not getting into the scene by scene. In this movie, I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing that with the first 30 minutes, because the first 30 minutes really encompass this whole movie, like completely. So I'm going to spend a little time on the detail there. Not too much, but a little bit. And you know what? Let's go ahead and get right into the four actors we were going to mention, right into the four hitmen that we are dealing with. So we start out with Mark Wahlberg in this movie. All right. Here he is, Mr. Wahlberg. I don't know what was up with the hair in this movie, but it was a little crazy. So, and again, I explained Mark Wahlberg's character in this movie, very polite, very stressed, very ulcer, has two women that are bleeding him dry, and he is afraid to have either one of them not like him. So, and that's the video store behind him that they completely destroy. And obviously, Mark Wahlberg, known for so many things. Now, you're going to hear a little bit of a theme throughout this movie, and that is Calvin Klein model. We know Mark Wahlberg was the Calvin Klein underwear guy. In the early 90s, he had Good Vibrations with Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. But you're going to hear me mention a few more Calvin Klein models in this episode. I mean, obviously known for so many movies. Boogie Nights, The Departed, The Fighter. And after he did a few of where he really started getting a lot of ground was as an action star, obviously. Lone Survivor, Shooter, Patriots Day. If you have Patriots Day, I want to do, but I want to wait until that's all about the Boston Marathon bombing. I would love to review that movie just on how well it is done. And they mix in live footage with, scripted footage. It's just a very well done movie. If you haven't watched Patriots Day with Mark Wahlberg, check it out. It is well worth it. But I'll tell you, he's also great in the comedy. Him and Will Ferrell do great stuff together. The Other Guys, Daddy's Home, 1 and 2. They're in both of those. Ted with him and Seth MacFarlane, just great comedies that he's been in. And obviously he's been a ton of other stuff. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but been in a ton of other stuff. And the next hitman we go to is my man, Lou Diamond Phillips. All right, let's go talk about Lou Diamond. Let me get that picture off. Let me grab Lou. Now, throughout this movie, Lou Diamond Phillips is wearing this horrible tattoo shirt. If you're on YouTube, you could see the shirt he is wearing. It is god awful. He is such a bro in this movie. A lot of us were used to him playing different, all kinds of different characters. La Bamba, Young Guns 2. I actually really enjoy. I know I always say I'm not a horror fan, but I do watch a few horror movies, and The First Power from 1990 is one of my honestly favorite horror movies. And it's kind of a B movie cult classic. That might be why I like it so much. But I mean, he was in, like I said, La Bamba, Stand and Deliver, Young Guns. He's supposed to be coming back for the new Young Guns. But Lou Diamond Phillips goes from being like big bro, dude, bro, it's all about love, baby, to a complete backstabber in minutes in this movie. And the change is crazy. But from there, from Lou Diamond Phillips, we're going to move on to another actor, which I really, really like all the stuff he's in, and that's Bokeem Woodbine. Bokeem Woodbine in this movie is he plays Crunch. I'm sorry, Lou Diamond Phillips plays a character called Cisco. This is Crunch, Bokeem Woodbine, and throughout the movie, pretty much all he talks about is jerking off. That's pretty much all he talked about the whole movie. He had just discovered it. And even in one scene, he says, I've never needed to jerk off. I've been fucking since I was 10. I think I might have done that pretty well. But there we go. So, talk a little bit about Bokeem Woodbine here in a second when I can get over to the screen without being angered by it. Here we go. He's been in a lot of stuff. Dead Presidents, Jason's Lyric, Life, Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, Life. Can't get right. Ended up getting a baseball contract. He was in The Rock. He's done tons of TV. Fargo. He was Mike Milligan. And, you know, in the 90s, he was actually very good friends with Tupac. Actually, a lot of musicians. He was very good friends with Tupac. He was actually the angel in the I Ain't Mad At You video from 1996. He was in TLC's Waterfalls. So he was the main character in the story, in the whole thing. Wu-Tang Clan. He was a huge friend of RZA. RZA, I think it's RZA. He was in a bunch of their videos, Gravel Pit, Protect Your Neck. He was in both of those. And he was even in The Sopranos. That's right. He was Massive Genius. He played the gangster rapper, Massive Genius. But Dead Presidents probably is what I remember, like the first movie I saw him and was like, damn, he's fucking, I like this guy. But he also is in the Marvel universe in Spider-Man and Spider-Man Homecoming, I'm sorry. He was the villain, Shocker, Herman Schultz. And he was in Ray. He was in the movie Ray with Jamie Foxx, but excellent, excellent actor. Always likes pretty much everything he's done. 3,000 Miles to Graceland, the little parts he has. He's not even in this movie very much, but the parts he has are hilarious, which most of this movie is funny, but that's Crunch. And now we have Vince, played by Antonio Sabato Jr. Antonio Sabato Jr. was like supposed to be this big breakout star, and he's just kind of this. He's not in this movie very long. He has a thing to do over the weekend when they're doing this whole movie. I got a thing. That's all he keeps saying throughout it. I got that thing this weekend. So that's all we know. But here we go with another Calvin Klein underwear model from the mid 1990s. Right there. He was first noticed in Janet Jackson's music video, Love Will Never Do. And that's where he kind of got noticed and people started bringing him in. Ended up on a soap opera. He was Jagger Cates on General Hospital from 92 to 95. Was in a 90s series, sci-fi series called Earth 2. I don't think I've ever seen that. But he won NBC Celebrity Circus in 2008. There you go. And he also had a dating show in 2009 called My Antonio on VH1. And in 2018, he shifted out of acting and I guess decided he wanted to move into politics. He unsuccessfully ran as the Republican candidate for the House of Representatives in California's 26th congressional district. So he didn't win, but he ran. Oh, I'm sure y'all can hear in my voice. It was getting my throat was getting dry there. So there's your hit crew. Now let's get into the movie. And I'm going to try to use all these actors by their names. Okay. So the movie kicks off. All right. We're right in the beginning here. And we see Mark Wahlberg helping out Vince, doing a favor for him, loading a body into his car, taking the body to, which we find out is not his fiance, but his girlfriend's house. Now, the girlfriend is played by Layla Rashawn, who has been in a ton of stuff. Mostly known for doing, she was in Any Given Sunday. She was Vanessa, Jamie Foxx's girlfriend in that movie. But she has done a ton of stuff. She was Robin Stokes in Waiting to Exhale. Way back in 1989, she was Sunshine in Harlem Nights. Great movie. She was in Boomerang, which right there on YouTube, you can find Boomerang. And she's been in a ton of others. Commercials. She was doing commercials for modeling. She was doing commercials and modeling while she was paying for college at California State University. And that's how she paid for college. And then ended up dancing in some music videos. Lionel Richie's All Night Long. Excellent video. Tupac Shakur's I Get Around. A lot of Tupac tonight. And she actually was a guest star on The Cosby Show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and The Wayans. So she has accolades going way back. She was actually one of People Magazine's 50 most beautiful people in the world in 1996. Got an MTV Movie Award, NAACP Image Award nominations. And this was all in the 90s this was all her breakout run, basically. But she's now she's behind the camera. And she's the executive producer in the series The Family Business, New Orleans. Sorry. So she's still doing a little bit, just not in front of the camera, a little bit behind the camera. And this is actually the first scene. If you're on YouTube, you're looking at the first scene. This is it right here. Oh, actually, this isn't. This is a different scene. I apologize. Wrong scene. So there's a question she's asking throughout the whole movie. Melvin, where's my money? And literally she asks this a bunch throughout the movie. She's leading him on. Doesn't even give him any. Teases him. And then just leaves him there. But Melvin's dumping a body. So the girlfriend knows what he does for a living. All right. But the fiance doesn't. We'll get to the fiance in a few minutes. Now, not only is Mark Wahlberg a hitman, he's a badass hitman in this movie. Immediately, they do a little workout, Marky Mark workout montage, if you will. He's doing the pommel horse. He's doing this. He's doing the everything he can do. But we see all four guys, and they were all at the gym, and they're in the locker room. You see a few asses. Now, as a joke in this gym scene, Bokeem Woodbine decided to stuff socks in his pants. So that's why he's gigantic in this scene. Just so you know, that's why he is. Um, but here we go. So we go through here. Now, they're trying to pull Melvin into a like side job they have going on the weekend. Melvin keeps saying no. He's like, dude, it feels like moonlighting. And Cisco, Lou Diamond Phillips, keeps saying, man, you're too good for your own good. You're too honest for your own good, baby. And you've gotta watch this movie and hear Lou Diamond Phillips talk in this movie. That's exactly how it is. It's all love, baby. Oh yeah, you're too honest for your own good, Melvin, baby. This is what he does throughout the whole movie, and it's great. It's great throughout the whole movie. So these guys are all dressed like construction guys, and they're going to a hit. All right. It shows them getting all prepared in this hotel. And, Mark Wahlberg is getting ready to go in. He's got his game face on. And he's going. They start doing their thing. And Mark Wahlberg is just killing everybody in these scenes, doing flips, doing all kinds of stunts. Now, he did a lot of his own stunts in this opening sequence. He really wanted to capture him, and the producers and the director all wanted to capture this comic book type energy. And they had him strapped into a harness, did a lot of wire work. And Mark Wahlberg said he was incredibly sore, but they definitely got through what they were looking to do in these scenes. These are great scenes. You got Mark Wahlberg tearing the fucking place up, just killing everybody. And you've got Cisco and oh my god, I forgot what's his name was in this movie. Jesus Christ. Hold on a second. What was Antonio Sabato Jr.'s name in this goddamn movie? Vince. You've got Vince and Cisco literally drinking coffee in this movie during this scene. And they're faking gunshots. We're holding them off for you, Mel. They're coming at us hard. It's just total chaos from the beginning. And it's a great scene in the movie. The whole scene is great in this movie. And you're only 7 minutes in and you're watching this, but you see the Melvin Smiley character and how polite he is. My God, I think I just swallowed a gnat. Oh, I think I got him out. Oh, that was nasty. I'm in the country, folks. There's all kind of stuff out here. There's a part where he goes into the room and, they're selling women. And he kills a guy, falls into the hot tub, and the girls are in there, and he goes up and he's like, I'm sorry. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. And they're all just like, yeah, all right. Well, they finally find the guy. And you've got Cisco talking about this being a bonus hit, 25,000 for whoever hits the big man thereafter. So Mark Wahlberg does get to him first, Melvin, but Cisco doesn't want to let it go that way. So Cisco tells Vince, my kill, my bonus, and he puts 2 in him. And then they go back. They get out of there in a great way. Again, I'm not going to tell you every little thing. I want you guys to watch these if you haven't. And if you have, go back and watch them. Hell yeah. So they get back. Finally, they get out of the building and they get back. And this is where we meet the boss. The boss in this movie is a badass. And that is, how did I forget to get a picture of Avery Brooks? I did. I forgot to get a picture of Avery Brooks. Give me a second here, folks. Let's see how long this will take. Give me one sec. and we will find this out if I can grab a quick picture of Avery Brooks. Doesn't need to be from the movie. Just kind of want to show you guys who he is. All right. Yeah, I guess that'll work. Give me a second, folks. Give me literally just about 10 seconds here. I will drop that in here. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Avery Brooks. Now, this guy is an absolute badass. And you've seen him in a few more movies. You've seen him in American History X. You've seen him in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Spencer for Hire, which we talked about a few weeks ago in Turk 182 and Robert Ulrich. But that spawned into another TV series called what we have here, A Man Called Hawk. But he was Dr. Bob Sweeney. He was the principal in American History X. But this guy is an absolute badass. I remember him from Spencer for Hire. He played Hawk. He was kind of the enforcer. That's exactly what he was. He was the enforcer to the private detective Spencer for Spencer. But he's actually the first African American to receive an MFA in acting and directing. That was from Rutgers University. He gave back to his community and became a tenured professor at Rutgers, the same School of Arts. So he did that, and he's very dedicated to the some African American issues. He's been the artistic director of the National Black Arts Festival and has worked very closely with the Smithsonian Institution's program in Black American culture. So still involved in issues today, not doing very much, but hey, great. But he is a very intense actor, and he is the boss named Paris in this movie. And we meet him, and he's having a meeting. And this is where we see Cisco beat Melvin out of the bonus because Vince stays with Cisco and says the guy was alive. So there you go. Once again, they ask Melvin to get in on this. And on the side job for the weekend, which we're about to get into, he declines. So he goes home, and this is where he gets a call from the video store guy. And that is exactly what he is known as in this movie, Video Store Kid, played by Danny Smith. Danny Smith is great in this movie. Literally threatens, if you don't return King Kong Lives to Big Top Video, we'll have you killed. So this was definitely one of his, breakout kind of roles. But he was in he was Merton Dingle in Big Wolf on Campus, which started in 1999. But he hasn't done a lot. But he was definitely good as this employee in this movie. So fucking annoying, but greatly annoying. You know what I mean? It was just kind of just exactly what you needed in this movie. So he gets a call from Big Top Video to add to his stress and his ulcer. Now, the chugging of the Malox was actually lately added to the script. The writers wanted something to show that the agony of his people pleasing, which is exactly what they were trying to show. And allegedly, he went through really drinking bottles of this stuff. Actually, it was prop bottles. But whatever it was in there, he went through dozens of them. So there we go with that. Now, This is where we do see he has a double life because we see his fiance come home. Pam Shulman. Okay, we see Pam come home. Pam is played by the one and only Christina Applegate, folks. Yep, Christina Applegate. Obviously, come on. We know her from Married with Children. She was Kelly Bundy. That's where most of us know her from. That's where most people would know her from. But she was also on Friends. She showed up as Rachel's sister. A lot on that show, actually, a few times. From 2019 to 22, she was in Dead to Me. So she's done a few things. And now she's actually very sick. She's living with MS. She had breast cancer, went through that, survived it. Now she's living with multiple sclerosis since 2021. But she does very well. I believe she does very well. And she's also was incredible as Veronica Corningstone in the Anchorman stuff. Awesome. But Christina Applegate is the very Jewish in this movie, very Jewish fiance. So we immediately see that Melvin is leading this double life. And we know both of these women are kind of draining him dry, but it's just weird because this badass killer is like apologizing to the video store kid, like, I'm sorry, I'll get it back. Meanwhile, he can't find the video. So we go through all that, and this is where he's told that Pam's parents are coming to dinner. And we see Chantel with another guy. And she's basically telling you that she's playing Melvin in this movie. And it's a horrible, you feel bad for Melvin as this is going down because she's basically fucking with the fact that he can be manipulated, telling him that he's 25,000 in the hole to her. You got to pay my house, my car, this, that. And the whole time, she's not even paying bills. She's pocketing the money. So we see she's screwing around and really just using him for his money. And you feel bad for the character at this point. Well, Melvin goes to bed, but he has a bad dream that Pam turns into Chantel and starts asking for her money. So he calls and he gets in on the weekend job. All right. So this is where we start talking about the little weekend job. And this is where it is a kidnapping. All right. Now, who are they kidnapping? They are kidnapping the daughter of Jiro Nishi, who owns Nishi Electronics in this movie, a very powerful man. And he also made a huge Hollywood movie called Taste the Golden Spray. This movie made him go bankrupt. We know this. They don't. So they are going to kidnap his daughter because they think he's a millionaire. And his daughter is played by the one and only China Chow. Now, China Chow, this was her debut movie. She had never done a movie before this. She was a model. And I bet you can guess who she was a model for. Yes, Calvin Klein in 1996, along with Tommy Hilfiger, and other places. But this is where she made her film debut. Then she was in Head Over Heels, 2001, Spun, Frankenfish. She was a reoccurring She had a reoccurring role on Burn Notice. That was a good. I like that show, and also on that '70s show. But she's also done voice acting. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. She was Katie Zane. So there you go. Done a lot. Um, Her parents are very, very, very big. Her father is the founder of Mr. Chow Restaurant, the Empire, Mr. Chow's, and her mother was a model and fashion designer named Tina Chow. So there you go. But she is obviously beautiful. Now, believe it or not, her and Mark Wahlberg ended up in a 4-year relationship after this movie, which might be why they had such good chemistry between them, and they actually expanded her role because of it. So it might have been the best thing for her character and her career. But yeah, they actually had a 4-year relationship after this movie. So that is who they are kidnapping in this movie. And right when they're trying to do the kidnapping, you've got, and she's a college girl in this movie, but we see them coming in and taking everything that Nishi owns, her father, everything, chairs, whatever he tries to do, they take. And Melvin is trying to get 25 grand to get Chantel off his back while they're planning this kidnapping. Not even planning. While they're in the middle of this kidnapping, they're waiting on the limo. So limo comes around the corner, guy backs up and says, "Car trouble," and Cisco doesn't even question it. Boom, shoots his ass. So Mark Wahlberg ends up being the driver, and he goes to pick up the girl at school. Unfortunately, another asshole student gets in the car. This guy is literally trying to rape China Chow because she keeps saying no, and he's making racist love you long time jokes. And Mark Wahlberg just stops and puts one in him. Boom, right in his head. Done. Done. So she freaks out and realizes she has been kidnapped. Now, we also meet another character in this movie played by Robin Dunn, and that is Gump. Gump is a very lovable character in this movie, but has a hard time finding his words. He stutters, he stammers. Now I gotta admit, I didn't know a lot about Robin Dunn, so I did look him up a little bit. He was in the show Sanctuary. He was Dr. Will Zimmerman. All 59 episodes he was in. He was in Cruel Intentions 2, The Skulls 2, which I have not seen The Skulls 2, but The Skulls 1 is great. That'll be another movie that'll be another one to talk about one night. American Psycho 2, All American Girl, that movie. I never saw that either. But he was in Little Men, the TV show, and he's done a lot more behind the camera. For some holiday theme films, Christmas movies. You guys know the movies I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. You know the ones I'm talking about. The Hallmark movies, the Lifetime movies, all those. But there you go. But during his time on Sanctuary, he was actually involved in something called Sanctuary for Kids Foundation, and that supports children in crisis. So he was a big part of that during his career. But this character, Gump, is super lovable, and we will get more into that character as we're talking about the movie. Now, this kidnapping goes sideways almost immediately. Okay. Crunch, Bokeem Woodbine wrote a note and it's all over the place. And she is just completely manipulating and making fun of these guys throughout reading the kidnap note. They finally shortened the note. But once again, you got Melvin apologizing for killing her boyfriend, which wasn't her boyfriend. He is a people pleaser, obviously. So, as we go through the movie, again, Cisco is a dick throughout this movie, but we're going through the movie and they get away, they get out, and the plan is that they're going to keep China Chow's character, Keiko, at Melvin's. Not Melvin's, but Chantel's. So not at Pam's house, Chantel's house, because she knows what he does. So right when he's bringing her there, we cut to another scene, and we see Pam's parents showed up. Her parents are played by, and I just got them both in one picture, Elliot Gould and Lainey Kazan. Now, Elliot Gould, another actor who had a scene in American History X, a very good scene in American History X. But I mean, this guy has been acting since the 70s. I mean, The Long Goodbye, California Split, 1973, 74. And another one who was on Friends. He was Mr. Geller. He was Jack Geller on the show. So another one that's got a little tie into Friends, but he was even back in MASH, the movie in 1970. Even the 60s, he was acting. His breakout role is If I Can Get It For You Wholesale in 1962. So this guy's been acting forever. But great. And actually, in the 1970s, he was a frequent guest on Saturday Night Live, host of Saturday Night Live, and became one of the early members of the Five Timers Club, hosted 5 times early. So, and Lainey Kazan, mostly known for My Big Fat Greek Wedding. She was Maria, the mom in that movie. Mostly what she is known for. She was on St. Elsewhere, Desperate Housewives, The Nanny, King of Queens. She has done a ton of stuff. But these are her parents. And this is it's great seeing some of the Morton and Jean Schulman. So you've got Pam, Morton, and Jean. And it's Jeannie, actually. But it's just really fun watching all the stuff go down with the family. And this is where she finally tells him, because remember, she's very Jewish. She tells him that Melvin's not Jewish. So there you go. Big scene. And the father, Morton, just wants a drink. And they won't let him drink. They say it's horrible when it happens. They don't let him drink. This is horrible. So we've got Melvin being forced into being a caretaker, basically. And it's just so funny to see this literally international assassin just be so nice to people. Everyone he meets, he's so fucking nice. And it's almost annoying how friendly he can be. But once again, Chantel comes down, where's my money? And this is where we see Cisco and Gump setting up to make the ransom call. All right. And now he's literally using equipment from the guy's daughter they kidnapped, Nishi. And they're talking about trace busters and tracing and trace buster busters. And then they had the trace buster buster. Well, that started off working. But of course, Cisco calls and he can't even get the right note out. Now, the father of Kyoko's father gets the ransom call. He has to get it twice because he can't get it right. Cisco can't. Now, he's literally trying to do a ritual suicide with a knife and everything. Just totally comic bookish. But that's literally what he's doing right here. Yes, he is a goy. He's a goyim in this movie. Yes, you got it exactly right there, True North. He's goy, and they even talk about it in this movie about if I want to marry goyim, I'll marry goyim. Words I've heard my whole life. But anyway, he makes a call, the father, after he gets this ransom call, and the first call he makes, we find out, is to Avery Brooks, Paris, the terrifying boss. Well, this is what we find out. They just kidnapped his goddaughter. And shit is about to go down. Now, we see another scene with Morton, actually with the mother and Pam and Mark and Melvin. They're all sitting there at the table, and she's screaming at him, "How can you do this? You're going to kill your parents." And Melvin almost gets Morty a drink, but they stop him. Don't worry, he figures out a way to drink. So you got Cisco and Gump, who just made the call. Now, Cisco was just called into Paris's office, and he walks into Paris's office, and it's a scary scene. It is a scary scene. I don't know if I can share my screen with you guys and play a little bit of this scene just to show you what he walks into. It is freaky what he walks into. Let me see if I can do that. Add scene. What would that be? Media? Screen. If I can't do it, I won't do it. Screen share. Window. Bingo. That's going to be small, but that's okay. Probably be better if it is. Let's put a little sound to it. There's not that much music. This is what he walks into. Actually, here, I can make it bigger for you guys. There we go. This is what he walks into. All the crew standing there, sitting. This is a scary situation for someone to walk into. He knows something is about to go down. Absolutely. I couldn't even imagine walking into a situation like that. Not even close. Not even close. Let me get me back up here. I couldn't even imagine walking into a situation like that. I didn't know I could do that. That's something I need to remember that. So he tells Gump, don't do nothing. Don't do a thing. Okay? Stop. Don't do anything till I get back. So this is where Cisco finds out that the goddaughter is the one that's been taken. I can make it bigger, is what Cheese tells his wife. Well, that's why he's got so many kids. All right, let's go through this a little more. Obviously, Cisco knows what's going on now, and he is scared. He is like terrified, which he should be. And we see right now, Chantel and her other man decide to show up and leave. They bring the cut up body in garbage bags Keiko to the house. And it is a crazy scene watching Mark Wahlberg Melvin try to juggle getting the girl set, the dog from next door to stay away from the garbage bags with the body in it, and also keep the parents and Pam from seeing the fact that he has a dead body out there. So they're getting ready to try to leave, and he finally gets them out of the house. And he tells them, once he gets them out of the house, he tells them he's going to make them a nice dinner. Now, as that's going on, we flip back to Cisco, and they're all at Keiko's father's house, waiting for the next call, the more instructions call. And Lou Diamond Phillips is literally chewing on his hand. Don't call. Please don't call. Oh, God, please don't call. Literally doing everything he can to, I guess, make that not happen. Please don't call. So he calls. Gump decides he's man enough to make the call, and he calls. And Cisco, he literally lights a cigarette thinking he's not going to call, and the cigarette drops. Okay. So we see a little chemistry going on. As that's going on, we're waiting, so we don't have to watch them wait. We flip back to Melvin and the girl. He helps her go to the bathroom, and there's a little, she's all giggling, and she finds them all hot and this and that. So you see what's happening here. You see the relationship building slowly. Now, Gump makes the call, and Nishi uses the trace buster, gets a trace on Gump, and they go. No choice. Now, we see Melvin makes the girl a slice of pizza, being super nice to her. And this is where they all end up at Gump's place. Now, we know Gump and Cisco are working together, but no one else in the movie is supposed to know, especially not Paris. So Cisco has no choice. He grabs Gump and starts beating on him. But as he's saying it, he's getting him to implicate Melvin in the kidnapping. So there we go. Now Melvin is caught up as the kind of mastermind behind kidnapping Paris, his boss's goddaughter. So it ain't good. But he ends up killing Gump, and I hate to say, but I don't even hate to say it, but you do actually feel bad that he killed Gump. But he killed Gump to make sure he shut his fucking mouth. Obviously, that's why he killed Gump. He didn't want anyone, and it getting back to Paris, that he is the one doing this. So now Melvin is on. So he's sitting there and he's trying to cook. And he ends up taking the cuffs off the girl, and they're making a meatloaf, some sort of meatloaf, it looks like. It's supposed to be a completely kosher meal, is what he's supposed to be cooking. Well, at one point, he drops some sauce on her leg. They start kissing, but she does take it as an opportunity and tries to leave. Hits him over the head. I'm sorry, it's a chicken. They're glazing a chicken. That's what they're doing. So he ends up calling for takeout. She's knocked out in the back of his car. So when the family gets back, this is where the movie takes a great turn. The family gets back, And this is where we, just us, the audience, know that the parents have talked Pam into breaking up with Melvin. She needs to find a good Jewish boy, obviously. So we know this. He doesn't yet, but they're still going to do the dinner now. He had to order takeout for dinner because something got burned. The chicken burned. So he ordered takeout. Crunch calls him, and he's like, dude, I'm getting out of town. You should do the same. They're coming for you. Cisco's taking out everybody because he turned. Now, this is where we see Elliot Gould somehow, Morty, got some liquor. Got it. He's putting it in prune juice in the fridge. So he's mixing himself drinks, and he keeps going back and forth and back and forth. So we see all this, and this is where they're all sitting down to dinner. And suddenly, Melvin was just about to leave right when they sat down to dinner. He's about to take off in his car, but he hears Cisco's voice. So he goes back in. And it's Cisco and a few guys from Paris's crew. And they got a glass table. There's a tablecloth over it, right? And the whole time they're sitting and talking, there is guns pointed at everyone under the table. No one knows this. Morton is drunk, gets up, starts making this speech about how it's horrible what they're doing to this kid. He ends up throwing up. And this is where guns start going off. And this is a really, really great gunfight. It is a really, really good gunfight, this one right here. It's crazy. And it ends up that he gets out. And he gets out, and now we have a car chase. Crazy car chase. But he also finds out, while they're trying to get out of the house, that Pam was going to break up with him. So he kind of says bye as they're in the middle of this home shootout. And then he takes off. And he takes off in a yellow Pontiac Trans Am. Nice car. Nice car. Now, we see Chantel and her man. They ended up doing a giant circle for 4 hours and got lost. This is going to be important in a few minutes because as Melvin is running, now again, the daughter is in the trunk. Paris, the boss, is in a limo with the father of Keiko's dad. And they're hearing about this chase. What happens is the limo that there ends up crashing. Melvin ends up crashing into Chantel and her boyfriend. And guess what? They have the video. So Melvin has found the video that needs to go back to Video Store Kid at Big Top Video. He finally found King Kong Lives, folks. He's been waiting for that, looking for that. So Annie gets his money back from Chantel. So we see Paris is down there. He's out of commission for a little while till they get the limo out of where they're stuck. Melvin says bye to Chantel. So there's both women out of his life right now. Okay. Cisco somehow lives through a huge explosion. We do see how he lived through it once we get into the video store. We're heading to the video store since now he has the tape. So Cisco steals Chantel's car and goes after Melvin, along with Paris in the limo, goes after Melvin too. This is where him and Keiko kind of make a deal. Listen, Melvin says, you know, I'm a hitman. You're going to always be looking over your shoulder. It's a crazy life. But if I come out of this video store and you're still here, we'll go do this. We'll disappear together. Well, before he can get out of the car, Cisco runs into him. and he gets knocked onto a branch overhanging a cliff. Okay. So somehow they sneak out of the car. Doesn't really show it, but what we see is Melvin, Mark Wahlberg's character, running down this mountain, trying to get away from Cisco, who is going full speed at him. Well, they end up in a fight right underneath, of course, their car. In the fight, the car ends up falling. Melvin barely jumps out of there. Car explodes. We see how he lived through this. Cisco did. Cisco lives through everything. Cisco will not fucking die. So we're in front of Big Top Video. Melvin goes in and video store kid Danny Smith sees him and is all over him. Now, this character was only supposed to be a voice on a phone. No more. But Danny Smith was so good at being that voice on the phone, they expanded this character and gave him a few actual parts in this movie. So there we go. As we move on, almost done here, folks. I got maybe 5 minutes left to talk about. As we move along in this movie a little bit, you know what? Screw my notes. I don't need them anymore. There wasn't a lot of trivia to this movie, so let me just do one quick thing here. This and this. Okay. So as we're going, and we're almost to the end, Melvin's in there. He's returning the video, and this guy is so happy to be charging him late fees, and then it's not rewound, and he's like, ooh, that's gonna cost you. And he's so happy about it. So finally, Melvin grabs his ass and threatens him. But we see Cisco come in, and Cisco has, again, some badass knives. Now, if you don't remember, or if you don't know, in Young Guns 2, all the work those guys did with the weapons was them. So he got really good with a knife in Young Guns 2. Especially, or it's Young Guns 1, but in Young Guns 2, he had that double knife that had the circle in the middle, and he would spin that thing. That was really him doing that. Just like it was really Emilio Estevez spinning those guns in his hand. They all got good with their weapons to make it as authentic as possible. So Lou Diamond Phillips has some definite practice with knives. And you do see behind him, there's a coming soon for the Godzilla movie, which I believe came out the same year, 1998. So him and Cisco get into this crazy fight. And I mean, they are tearing this fucking movie studio up. Now, they had just received the most expensive studio merchandise in the world for Taste the Golden Spray. Okay? That'll come into play a little later, too. So they're fighting throughout this movie. They end up everywhere. They're tearing this place apart. The video store kid finally makes it out. Not before being shoved a few times. And we see an incredible, a great fight between Lou Diamond Phillips and Mark Wahlberg here. There's at one point, there is a movie poster for Thunderheart, which I reviewed just a couple of months ago. I reviewed Thunderheart with Val Kilmer. But they're in a legit video store here, is what they are. Yeah, 2 stories. And by the way, the picture I showed earlier of Crunch, we could put that back up. This was actually from the video store because Crunch was the #1 customer of the month in the adult section. That's right. Remember, Crunch was jacking it, folks. Crunch was jacking it. So they take a good little cartoonish second to both acknowledge that, and they're like, what? It was just funny. It was, and Lou Diamond Phillips' face is like, what the fuck? And if you haven't seen this movie, you must watch. Just for watching Lou Diamond Phillips be so out of any character you would think he would be in. Although I do know a movie he plays in Hollywood Homicide with Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett. He does play a hooker, tranny hooker. So that's a little out of character. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Great fight with these guys. Finally, they end up on top of, basically on the ceiling. And Melvin does end up stabbing Cisco. Cisco does die, but not before arming an explosive that Melvin is carrying with him. Cisco dies. Melvin's running out. As he's running out of the building, he sees Keiko and her father and Paris pull up. Melvin's got a gun aimed at him. Only thing he can do is go back in the store. Store explodes seconds after he gets in there. So we go and the poor video store kid is crying. This explosion was huge. The store is gone. And we see her back at college. Now, I do have to tell you guys, and I probably should have waited till or done this earlier. She was originally supposed to be a high school girl in this movie. They changed it, and I would think for a good reason. Let's just leave it at that. There was a change in the movie. She was supposed to be in high school. We'll leave it there. Sound good? That sounds good to me. But it shows her back in college, and she gets in the limo. Now, she thinks he's dead. Gets in the limo, and we see the car, and she hears a different voice in the car for the driver, and she thinks it's him, Melvin. It's not. We see that it's Vince Antonio Sabato Jr., and next thing you know, he opens the door. Melvin gets in the car and he tells her, you know, your dad, that statue your dad built, it's built incredibly well. He literally was under the statue, ended up surviving, and there they are. That is it. That is the end of the movie. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to make a quick mention of the soundtrack for this movie. It's very 90s, which it should be. This is a 90s movie. But this soundtrack is so 90s. You know, you got the workout montage, and they're playing Fun Lovin' Criminal by the Fun Lovin' Criminals, which is a great song. I'm not denying that. I'm the Man by Buck 09. You got some great ska music in here. You've got let's see, Apache by Sugar Hill Gang in the background when Cisco and Gump are planning everything out. You've got Magic Carpet Ride, but not that one, by Mighty Dubcats. Instead, you've got The World Is New by Save Ferris. And you got a song in here called Don't Sleep, performed by none other than Mark Wahlberg himself. So the soundtrack in this movie is great, but it is extremely 90s, as it should be. But I got to be honest, folks, this is really a fun movie to watch. As I said in the beginning of the show, it's one of those movies that when it's over, you're almost like disappointed. You're a little disappointed. You're like, this could have been maybe 20, 30 minutes longer. A great movie. But it's just so fast paced. You know, you just go from action to a quick setup, back to action, another quick setup, right back to more action. And then the end is action, action, action. So that's just kind of the way this movie goes. And before you know it, you're an hour and 30 minutes and the movie's done. So I'll give one last thing. I'll tell you guys where you can find this movie for streaming. And then we'll go ahead and get out of here. Right now, it is on Pluto for free, Sling TV for free. If you have VIX, VIX, I don't know if that's the right name, subscription, you can get it. You can get this on Roku if you have a subscription. Prime, YouTube for $3.99, Google Play, Apple TV, and Fandango, all for $3.99. So right now, though, best way if I was you, I would go to Pluto and watch it. But there is a way you guys can watch this movie if you would like to. So there, Cheese Man's wife says that all the time. This could have been 20 minutes longer or even 2 minutes long. Oh God. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. This has been a longer episode than usual. And I know I went scene by scene, but honestly, I didn't tell you everything. I did leave out stuff. And I gotta be honest, this movie is so chaotic that I wanted to make sure I got everything I wanted to say. So that's how I did it. But really a fun movie. I hope you guys will seek this out. And I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone coming on in here. And I appreciate everybody downloading the show when they do, listening on YouTube. And that's about it. I'll be back here next week. I do need to go ahead and let y'all know. I might be having to go the rest of the summer on Fridays. My daughter has softball games on Thursdays. And by the time they're over and they have the meeting, and I'm not back in time. I could have 10 minutes to get ready, but it's not worth it. I'm like stressed out. So I'll let everybody know I might switch this just for the summer. I'll go right back to the Thursdays. I like Thursdays. So we'll see what's going on. But on that note, once again, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll be back here next week. Appreciate everybody.